Okay guys, well I got a real treat for y'all today. Long story short, I bought another Geo. This is a 1996 3-cylinder 5-speed manual, just like the old one, except it's just a year newer. It's a lot nicer than the other one was. I didn't want to sell the other one, but life got in the way and I kind of had to, and I told myself ever since that day I would get another one, and here we are. This one, I know it looks rough, but believe me, it's a lot nicer than the other one. It's got more miles than the other one. The other one had, I think, 140 something. This one has 194 on it. According to the tag, it's been off the road since 2018. And the story on this is, well, actually I can show you exactly what happened. It was wrecked in the front kind of hard. It pushed the subframe back and destroyed the radiator and the condenser. And at that point, the owner decided to start parting it out for his new one. So it's missing the distributor cap and the wires, missing the intake or the air filter, and a couple other little small things. But lucky for us, all of that is in the back. All of that's in the trunk, so most of the parts are here for it. It's missing passenger side mirror, which is funny because the one I had before was also missing that mirror. It's also missing the rearview mirror. Windshield's a little worse for wear. Bumper from the accident's a little rough. But overall, it's in much better shape than the other one was. If you remember, the other one was hit on this side, and all of this suspension was not right. That brake was disconnected. This whole fender was just mangled. This one's all pretty straight all around, other than the front, and a little tiny little dent in the door here. The other one had the Geo and the Metro scraped off of it. This one has it, so that's a nice little extra. This tire's flat, so it's probably going to need a set of tires. It's a little dirty, but not too bad for sitting 7 years. The door on my other one would go up and down like 2 or 3 inches. This one barely. This one has a little bit of play, but it's not nearly as bad. Dash is about the same as the other one, maybe a little better. The other one had a big melted spot right here. This one's nice. Steering wheel looks nice. Cluster looks nice. Some of the vents are broken. That one's missing. But in the back we have a radiator that honestly looks like it came out of another car, like he was going to fix it, because it's not mangled. And then in that box there's a distributor cap and rotors and intake parts and a couple other little parts. So we're gonna try to get this thing going and see if we can have ourselves another Geo. All right, fast forward a couple of days. Actually found some free time to mess with it. Took the air compressor over here, aired up this tire. It's holding, seems like. I opened the gas cap and got a good whiff of it. It doesn't smell great. First thing we do once we get it moving, probably put a full tank of fresh gas in it, for sure. I need to put the distributor cap back on and the wires. I'm gonna have to clean out this throttle body because it's pretty nasty. It's been sitting without it, air filter for a while. So I'm gonna start by putting the cap and rotor. Well, it's already got a rotor. Put the cap and the wires back on. Then we'll put a jump box on it and give it a little whirl over, see if we hear a fuel pump, see if anything happens. Okay, so we're about to put the jump box on it and see if we hear a fuel pump, see kind of what it does. But amidst the scrounging for parts, I noticed a few things. There's several little plugs laying around in here that are not connected to anything. I mean, it'll be fine. We got one here with a wire that's cut off. Also noticed there is nothing on the exhaust past the header, and I did see a catalytic converter in the box. Trunk holds itself open magically now, so that's cool. Corey's here. We're about to hook a jump box to it and see if we hear a fuel pump. There's also no screws for the distributor cap, so we're gonna have to figure something out with that.
I found like 4 major vacuum leaks too, so even if it does work, we're gonna have to cap all that off.
Yeah, we got a vacuum leak there for the idle control circuit.
There's
I believe.
a big one back here. There's one right here. There's one back here.
Yeah, bunch of little things, but for now we're just gonna see if it sounds like it's got compression and all that stuff before we.
Fuel pump works.
And if the fuel pump works before we go too crazy with this thing. All right, we've got power hooked up. We got a beep. Weird noises. Hear a fuel pump?
No.
I don't hear a fuel pump. Let's see. Fuel gauge says it's empty, but I smelled fuel in it. All right, let's see. Might help if we put a foot on the clutch. It's got spark?
Yeah.
So it's sparking out of the coil?
I hear it zapping somewhere.
Okay.
Do it again.
Okay, well we got spark, but we don't, it doesn't seem like we have a fuel pump. So mess around with it a little more and be right back. Ready?
Yep.
We plugged a bunch of vacuum leaks, got the distributor hooked up. We're gonna see if it fires off. Give it a little shot. Okay, so the firing order is off.
Yeah, it's not right.
One eternity later.
Let me feed it a little bit. So it took some figuring out in the firing order. Internet pictures were basically a lie. They said number one was over here and we had to move it over here, and thought it rotated clockwise, and then turns out it's counterclockwise, so we had to figure it out. But it's 1, 3, 2, and number one, at least on this engine, is right here. So now it runs.
Definitely have no fuel pump.
Wasp.
Definitely idling to the moon because of that vacuum leak on number 2 for the I believe that's for something to do with the idle air control, which is missing. So, but we know it runs, we know the motor's good.
Diagnose the fuel pump situation, and some fuel, maybe a fuel pump, and coolant temp sensor, radiator, and a bunch of miscellaneous stuff, and then she'll be moving.
All right, so it's been a week. We pulled it over to my house. We used the Tundra. I pulled it from Corey's house to my house. This tire is still holding air after a week, so that's good. I mean, it doesn't really matter because most likely, probably, definitely not, probably gonna put new tires on it before we actually start driving it, if we get that far. But I've made quite a few discoveries since then. Well, first of all, when we pulled it here, there's a little bit of a oofy. Here, I'll open up the hood here and show you. The brakes work, I was able to use the brakes while we were pulling it so that, you know, I wouldn't rear end the truck. But our tow strap was kind of long. We had a little bit of slack, so every now and then, you know, there'd be a little bit of a jerk when he would start going, and I would, you know, just trail behind him. Well, turns out these crash bars, or not crash bars, but the front of the subframe is only, front part of the subframe is only tacked on to the, like, to the main body of the car. So on this side, it just ripped it completely out, and some of those pulls we were hoping would actually like straighten this thing out, because, you know, it's mangled, but no, it's still mangled. It just ripped it off of the main body, and it pulled all this up front with it. So now I got to take all this off and get to that piece and see about straightening it out, and I'm gonna have to weld it back on there. Not a big deal. I'm welding, it's not gonna be a problem, but I think straightening that is gonna be a little bit of a chore. The brakes work, but this one is sticking. So by the time we got it here, it was about a 5 to 7 minute drive. This caliper and rotor were smoking. Like, I smelled something while I was driving it. I had the windows both down, and I smelled something whenever we'd come to a stop. So I was like, I wonder if one of the brakes are sticking. And sure enough, we got here and that one was smoking. So that one's sticking. We're gonna have to look at that and see what's going on there. It could be a bad caliper, or it could just be something so simple as a swelled up brake line or something. I went ahead and took all the stuff out of the trunk. I probably shouldn't have. I didn't realize it was going to rain last night, but it did. We have a reservoir tank that has been epoxied quite a lot, but I actually checked it and it does hold, which is cool, because my last Geo, this thing was completely busted and didn't work at all, and I constantly had to add coolant to the radiator. So that's pretty nice to have this. We have the air box and the air filter. All this is wet now. That's great. Catalytic converter, somebody cut off. A radiator, which I want to check for leaks. It doesn't look bad. I don't believe this came off of this car, and if it did, it just got lucky and didn't get any damage from the wreck. But either way, I'm gonna check that for leaks, and if it doesn't leak, we're gonna use that. We got some somebody was trying to do something with the exhaust, which brings me to my next major discovery that I'm actually not too happy about. So in the last little bit, we noticed we only had manifold, and then there was nothing between there, and I thought maybe it's all still there. It's just, I figured maybe they just robbed the downpipe. Well, if we look on the back of the car, there's what's left of a muffler, but if we look under the car, there is no exhaust anywhere under the car. So that sucks. That means I got to get a whole exhaust system for this car, or build one or something. So this is definitely turning out to be more of a long-term project. The budget for project cars on my part is not really all there at the moment, so this is definitely going to be a bit of a long-term project. I hooked a battery to it last night, and I checked all the lights. All the lights work. Everything electrical seems to work, so that's good. So I guess for now, I'm going to focus on getting rid of this AC condenser, because we're not going to use that. And I'm going to take that AC compressor out, because I don't plan on having this thing with working AC for a while. Honestly, a Geo with AC is kind of a joke, because these engines are very underpowered. They barely have enough power to move the car, but to move the car and have AC is just a little too much for them. So I'm going to get rid of all this, delete all this. So my main goal for now is to get this bumper off.
My main goal is to blow up and then act like I don't know nobody.
And get that AC condenser out and gain access to this cross member here, so we can see what we have to do there. Okay, so I was quite surprised by how difficult that was. For as simple as this car is supposed to be, taking a bumper off is not simple at all. I thought I was stunned at first, and I was just doing something wrong.
Willard, are you stunned? He is stunned. What have you been looking at?
So it turns out you either have to somehow get to this screw on this crash bar bracket, which the crash bar is made of fiberglass, by the way, so that felt real nice on the arms, you know, real nice and itchy, you know. It's good stuff, good feeling. But so yeah, you gotta either get to that screw, which you can't really do because the frame is like right here and it covers up half of it. My neighbor's dog is going nuts. So I ended up having to reach in here. There's a bolt here, that's easy to get to, but there's also one right here behind the bumper. So I ended up taking those out and just taking the whole thing with the crash bar and everything off with it. Anyway, now that we're here, we can get a good look at this, and this looks, it's gonna be fun to get this back in one piece. Probably gonna have to detach it from here and just rip it the rest of the way off of there. And we're gonna have to take this and straighten it somehow. I suppose for now we can focus on getting that condenser off, getting that fan and all those lines off, and then we'll while we're doing that, we'll, you know, think about what we're gonna do here. All right, so the AC condenser is gone. By the way, if it looks like I don't have tools and I'm not equipped for this, it's because I'm not. All my tools are elsewhere. AC condenser, I will say, was fairly simple to get rid of. This is going to a scrap bin. This is not any good. What are we gonna do about this? Oh yeah, the AC compressor, we don't need that. We can get rid of that, maybe with two hands. Fancy plug, you know. There we go, we don't need that. I guess this is also going in the bin.
In the bin!
Because it's locked up good. What do we have here? O2 sensor. Oh, I bet you plug in right here, don't you? Yeah. Yep. Uh-huh. Cool. Now this. It's pretty mangled. Oop. Okay, well I just kind of fixed it. It was bent right here and I just bent it back. But I also broke the tack weld right there, so I'm gonna have to weld that back. That's no big deal. Just for shits and giggles, let's see if the radiator fits just like that. It's supposed to just sit down right there. Oh, well, I just made a discovery. Just realized this radiator is no good. It's supposed to be a piece that sits there, and that is broken. So this radiator is garbage. That sucks. So now we need a radiator. But if I could get that to sit about like it is now and also attach over here, that would be pretty much all we need for that to work. So I saved the fan off of it, even though the two bottom bolt holes are broke off of it. Might be able to use that on a new radiator. New radiator may come with a fan. We shall see. But I think that's gonna wrap it up for what I'm gonna do today. So. All right, it's the next day. So I was sitting on my couch and I was thinking, I wonder if that fuel pump is not necessarily bad, it's just locked up. So I hooked the truck to the jumper cables to the car and I turned the key on, and I noticed whenever I heard the fuel pump relay click off, I noticed all the lights on the dash would get brighter. So it's almost like whenever the relay kicks off, it takes the load off of the power from the locked up fuel pump. So I tried tapping on the tank with a hammer to get it to maybe unstick, because I figure fuel pump's probably locked up from whatever gunk is in the tank right now. It didn't work. Also, since I've had the truck hooked up, there's almost a half a tank of fuel in the tank. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull the tank down and get the fuel pump out. And I mean, because it's got to come out anyway, just to get a look at it and see what we're dealing with. But it's probably not gonna be very fun because there's half a tank of fuel in it, which is probably about 4 or 5 gallons, because I believe these cars have a 10-gallon tank. So this is gonna be interesting. On the bright side though, you see what I did there? I got our light to work. Oh, there it goes. These switches, they get nasty and dirty, and sometimes you just gotta play with the switch a bunch. And I did that, and now we have a cab light. Also, I'm not sure what's going on with the headliner. Seems kind of dangerous if you ask me, but let's see if we can get this fuel tank out.
1 hour later.
Okay, so I've got the car in the air very safely. Just don't look at it. If you don't look at it, it's safe. I took all the lines off, took the main fill line and the vent line, and I took the return line off, and it has been draining for over an hour now. This is kind of annoying. I wasn't expecting it to take this long. I was hoping to have everything done by now, but gotta wait for that to finish draining. And then I gotta take the line next to that, which is I believe is the main line. That's gotta come out. But I can't do that until it's finished draining, because anytime I try to put my hands in there, it just starts running down my arm. So once that finishes draining, about 2,000 years from now, get the other line off, and then I'll zap those 4 bolts out and pull this tank out.
2,000 years later.
We finally got it out. I had a jack underneath both sides, and I lowered one side all the way down so as to cancel the siphoning effect on the return line. And it's still got a bunch of gas in it. It was still heavy, but it's out. So now I'm gonna go ahead and take these 6 screws out here. It's really dirty. It's clean. I cleaned it off a little bit with the leaf blower. It was real nasty on top of there, but go ahead and take those screws out and get to the fuel pump itself. And I'm definitely gonna be emptying out everything that's in this tank, because it is 7-year-old fuel and it smells really bad, so not gonna be using any of that. All right, got these lines off, got all these screws out, got this line plug freed up from here. Let's see what we got. Oh boy. Yummy.
Yummy!
I don't think that fuel pump's ever gonna come back around. Outside of it looks like that. Just imagine what the inside looks like. Lord, that is terrible. How about the tank? Tank doesn't look too good either. Had to look in there with a light. Wow. Wow. Can gasoline even do that? What is that? Is that ethanol? That is so bad. Yeah, this tank's gonna need a good cleaning. But we got the fuel pump out, so nothing we can do now until we get a new one, really. But I definitely need to clean this tank out somehow. That's terrible. All right, so it's been about a week and a half. And it has been so hot and dry that the grass is just simply dying. So yeah, it's been great, you know. Southwest Arkansas weather, midsummer time. I'm sure you guys in Florida are probably screaming at me, but honestly I feel bad for y'all, because it's bad here. I wish I lived somewhere colder, but anyway. So yeah, again, it's been a week and a half. I got a little bit of progress I can share. I cleaned the tank out the best I could with some soap and a garden hose, and it's still pretty nasty in there. But and of course my neighbor's dog wants to go nuts as soon as I start filming. It's still pretty nasty in there, but at least there's no chunky matter, so it'll probably be fine. I have purchased a new fuel pump, but I wasn't able to get my hands on the strainer just yet. O'Reilly's had to order it, but I tore this one up just to see inside it. It's already pretty bad. It's dry rotted and everything. I probably could have used it again, but we're getting a new one while we're in there. I've been tossing around ideas on how to fix this. I've already taken it to a local fabrication shop, and they said they couldn't do anything with it, so I guess I got to come up with something. It's very thin metal, so it'll probably bend back one way or another. I just got to figure out how exactly. Hopefully in the near future we'll be installing that fuel pump. Hello? And we'll be able to hear it run, but we won't be able to run it for long because we still need to get a radiator, and I really can't get a radiator until I fix the subframe. Also need to get a battery for it so I can stop running it off the truck. So yeah. Alright, it's the next morning, and we now have everything we should need to at least hear it run on its own. Still can't drive it yet because I still need radiator. We need to fix, obviously we need to fix that. Need a coolant temperature sensor and a battery, and Lord knows what else. We need to fix that brake still. But this should get us to where we can at least hear it run. I went this morning and I picked this up. I had to order this yesterday because for some reason 90% of the fuel pump kits don't come with this strainer, which I would think you would always want to change this anytime you do a fuel pump, but maybe that's just me, I don't know. Also, I thought it would be a good idea to work in the morning because it's not as hot, but I think I might have been wrong because now the sun is just blaring on us. But anyway, let's see if we can get this assembled. Alright, I think this is ready to go in the tank. By far the hardest part was getting, there's a little retainer ring that goes to hold this strainer on the bottom of the pump. A couple of things. There's a rubber bracket that goes on the bottom, and the one that was supplied with the pump was incorrect for this fitment. As you can see there, it's got those two oval shaped holes there, whereas this one's just got 3 circle holes and it's a much bigger diameter. So couldn't use that. I ended up having to just reuse this. I can't really see a problem with reusing it. It's still pretty rubbery, so I'm sure it'll be fine. All right, try to make this quick because my neighbor's dog is freaking out again. Fuel pump's installed, sending unit's reinstalled. Sending unit was locked up, but I was able to get it free, and I actually plugged it into the harness and tested it out, and the sending unit seems like it's working good. So now next step, put this back in the car, and it is getting hot. It kind of sucks out here right now, so we'll see. Plus I'm really limited on time today, but see what we can do. All right, it's the next day. We got the fuel tank in the car. Put about 5 gallons of gas in it. Got the truck hooked up to it with 2 sets of jumper cables because I'm poor and I have 2 really cheap sets of jumper cables, and one of them is not enough, so 2 of them gives enough beef to turn it over. So we're gonna put the key in and see if we hear a fuel pump, and then we'll cycle the key a bunch of times, get some fresh fuel flowing through all the lines, and then we'll try to turn it over and see if we got an injector pulse. All right, well, in the midst of my pure excitement, I forgot to hit record, but basically it went pretty well. I cycled the key a bunch of times. The first few times, I definitely heard the fuel pump, so we got a fuel pump now, so we don't have any problems in the wiring or anything like that, so that's good. The first few times, it sounded really bubbly, so it was getting a bunch of air out of the line, so I cycled the fuel pump on and off a bunch of times with the key, and then I turned it over to see if it would actually run, and well, this is what happened. doesn't really want to idle. If you take your foot completely off the gas, it runs pretty bad, and I'm guessing that's because the idle air control stuff is not really there. It's just got a piece of tape, which it actually looks like it tried to suck it in. That's fun. Seems like it runs good. It revs up real good. Clutch gear, the gear shift seems to work. Seems like we have a good clutch in there, so that's good. I wonder what's next. We still got a lot to do. We still got to fix that somehow. Needs a battery, needs a radiator, needs a temperature sensor, needs a bunch of this and that's. But we know it runs now, so that's a really good sign. Okay, so it's been probably a few weeks, maybe even a month since the last clip. Life has just been absolute chaos, so I'm gonna go ahead and make the executive decision to upload this now as a part 1, and then part 2 in about a month or so. Hopefully there'll be a part 2 and not a part 3 and 4 and whatnot, and we'll be able to get this thing roadworthy before we know it. But everything we've done up until now is about all I can do at the moment, because life has been in the way a lot. So before I forget, I did add a mirror. I had a mirror, Toyota mirror, kicking around. It's kind of loose, but it fit, so I put it on there. And the shift knob that was on it was really nasty and sticky, so I had this weighted shift knob sitting around. Put it on there. Nothing in there yet, but there definitely will be. I've also noticed that this car was definitely lady driven, because I found, you know, these little flowers throughout, and the colors of these, you know, butt stabber 5 millions kind of give it away. Oh yeah, this also, yeah. So hopefully the clutch isn't completely shot. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to part 2.